You bet.
Well, now back to our top story. We are learning more this hour that the White House believes that the Pakistani Taliban is behind the attempted car bombing terrorist attack in Times Square. Top administration officials this morning saying that that suspect, Fajal Shahzad, they say was directed, funded, and trained by the terror group known as TTP, which is closely aligned with al-Qaeda. Is he the only suspect? How many potential terrorists are out there right here, right now? And do we have to defend ourselves both from al-Qaeda and the Taliban within our borders? Joining us now is the former Assistant Secretary of Defense and founder and president of the Center for Security Policy that deals with the threats to us, Frank Gaffney. Frank, always good to see you, but I have to say, it continues to be chilling. I mean, we go back almost 20 years now with these guys, with these terrorists trying to attack us, and this just seems to be the latest case.
Yeah, depends on when you want to start counting. I think we actually go back to 1979 when a branch of this operation, the Shia branch of those who adhere to what authoritative Islam calls Sharia, took over in Iran and began attacking Americans in our embassy and ultimately in our embassies and elsewhere. And what we've seen since, I think, is the insistence of these people on bringing about the triumph of Islam worldwide under variety of different sort of franchise operations, if you will. There's been al-Qaeda, the Taliban, Jamaat Islamiyah, a number of others, all of which are pushing forward through a violent form of jihad, this ultimate objective of the worldwide triumph of Islam. And then there's the Muslim Brotherhood, which has a whole variety of front operations, including many in this country, that claim to be pushing that same agenda forward through more peaceful, or I would call them more stealthy means. The combination of the two is what we're really up against. And as Senator Lieberman said on, I think, Fox some days ago, we're trying to defy the experience of thousands of years of military and intelligence and law enforcement history by pretending that our enemy is unknowable, or that we're at least not going to understand who they really are and what they're trying to do, and yet somehow defeat them.
Well, they are. I mean, they are knowable. They're right here. You go back to 1990. El Sayed Nosair shot Rabbi Meir Kahane here in New York. They blew up the World Trade Center in 1993. You got a guy who opened fire in the Empire State Building, Los Angeles International Airport, and on and on. How many more like Shahad? A naturalized citizen, a guy who got an MBA. He's an American. He lives here with a family. How many more potential suspects like this guy do you think are out here who in any second are going to potentially drive a car, whether it's in Cleveland or Detroit or Chicago or anywhere, and try and kill us in the name of Islam?
We don't know, is the truth of the matter. What we should be clear about, though, is those that are attending mosques that are promoting this program of Sharia, those that are involved in one of the other of the Muslim Brotherhood fronts, like the Muslim Students Association or the Council on American Islamic Relations, I believe would be susceptible to this kind of encouragement. We've seen people associated with both implicated in terrorist plots in the past. In our prisons and in our military, we've had people indoctrinating folks to participate in jihad to bring about the global triumph of Sharia. And this is really the nub of the issue. Unless and until we're clear that America must remain Sharia-free, I think we're going to continue to find more and more of these folks turning up, and some of them will be trying to kill us as a result of their beliefs.
Well, I mean, the White House this morning, as we indicated, says that the Pakistani group is behind it, finally. What does that mean to you, that if we have this new group in Pakistan, potentially or allegedly, training, funding in the terrorist camps there in Pakistan, more people, young men, and even naturalized Americans, perhaps, who would try and carry these type of operations out?
Yeah, it means there's another franchise that's put America squarely in the crosshairs. You know, they've been blowing up a lot of Afghans and Pakistanis the Taliban have for some time. They're now evidently emboldened to think that they can bring this threat here. And I must tell you, concerned that in part we've seen this dramatic rise in such attacks or attempted attacks in this country, because I think people are perceiving, those who adhere to this Sharia program are perceiving that America is increasingly submissive to it. We're not acknowledging the danger. We're not identifying the enemy. We're constantly trying to reach out, in fact, to some of these same groups, the Taliban in Afghanistan, for example, or the Muslim Brotherhood Front organizations here, in a way that I'm afraid only reinforces the sense that more violence will accelerate the triumph of their program. And that's what we're up against. That's what we've got to counter.
And we all hope that we are countering that and hope that's just not a matter of time. Frank Gaffney, president of the Center for Security Policy that deals with these issues. Thanks so much for joining us on this Sunday morning.
My pleasure, Eric. Thank you.
Jamie?